Whilst he held the knife close to Jenny's neck, the patient by myself was convulsing, jumping up and down, pointing her finger, trying to say something. I want you, it shouted as it threw up some blood, its voice rough and husky. I knew now what was going on. These patients were being experimented on or tortured by this group. What say you? Gripped the man with a knife to Jenny's throat. What do you mean? I said. Are you a patient or a doctor? Only two choices, he chuckled, grabbing Jenny closer to himself. If you mean am I affected, no. The man laughed. These aren't all affected. Most are. That one there, he pointed to the woman. She's infected. She will die soon. Look at her. She disgusts me, trying to speak and spitting out blood on me. Then he spoke directly to the woman. Look at you. Just look. I don't even understand what you're saying. All that wailing. Then he returned to me. But not all of them are. But to find a cure, you must have bodies. So that's what you're doing, finding a cure? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe we're beyond a cure. Who cares? Beyond me now, all a bit of fun. You want some fun? Do you mean do I want to torture and tie up these patients? Torture. That's such an antiquated word. Besides, most of them aren't human anymore. Not like your friend here. She feels very human. Leave her alone. Or what, tramp? Yes, I know who you are. I remember you on the streets. You didn't even beg. Who are you? I am no longer me. I think you mean who was I. I used to work in the building where you used to sit and fester, the insurance company. You were asleep most of the time. Then why this? This is a pastime. We need something to do. We can't let all the infected ones die around us. You do know how they die, don't you? They blow up, just like that. And some say if you drink their blood or get close to them, you can become affected too. So all of these might be carriers. You want to take that risk? This is life and death, my friend. Life and bloody death. Sleep well, do you? You ask me that? Yes, bloody right I do. I sleep like a log. First time in my life. Why, you see, now things are in my control. I have the power with my friends here. We run this city. We make sure what's what. No more easy street. No more tramps. Not in my city. Let Jenny go. Why? She's yours. Jenny looked at me with her big eyes, and at that moment seemed to last forever, such a moment that if it were alone, who knows what could have happened. Let her go. I think she might be infected. She might need some of my special treatment. What do you think, lads? The lads, as he called them, laughed and glanced at each other with glee. Why are you doing this? Let her go. And to my amazement he did so. Jenny fell to the ground like a sack of potatoes. I jumped down to pick her up. She held on to me so tightly, as if I had rescued her from a pack of lions, and yet all I had done was reason with him. But it was not my effort that saved her. This man had no need of her. He had all his toys in his hospital. What pain he was putting them through, I have no idea. We left him to his devices. As we left, I turned around to see him leaning over that woman. He took out a surgical knife from his pocket and cut a hole in her throat. She coughed and choked until she spat out the last bloody air that her lungs had previously inhaled. We ran down the stairs straight across the car park. Above, from the broken window, we could hear the laughs of the doctors, the screams of the patients in their agitation, locked up, unable to escape, and here we were running, leaving them behind. We got back inside our red bus, and Jenny immediately started to cry. I held her close to me, my head on hers. I could feel her long, silky hair on my chin. We both sat inside the red bus driving away from that hospital of horrors, contemplating the horrible sights we had seen. I stopped outside a shop and brought a few things. I knew what I had to do. I knew there was no other alternative. I got back inside the bus. Jenny never said a word. She knew what I was to do. We had joked about it earlier, but now it had some sense to it. I drove the red bus back to the hospital across the car park, right up to the hospital wing, and got out. I told Jenny to get ready, as we would need to drive off quickly. I ran inside the hospital, the explosives in my hand. I started to place them on the ground floor. I went to the lift to the basement and placed them there. Each floor I went to, leaving as much explosives and petrol bottles I could. Then I got to the 7th floor. I crept out slowly, placing a trail of petrol from the lift to the both doors. I opened the doors slightly and peered through. There I could see the doctors in their white robes. Each had surgical equipment and were operating on the live patients. Blood was pooling to the floor, running into the petrol I had laid. It seemed quite apt to me as I watched them butcher their way through innocent people, screaming and dying, that their blood of their victims and the petrol would send them straight to hell. Then I could contain my anger no more as I saw them operate on a little child that was coughing up blood. I burst open the door, dropping the petrol cans and explosives, and charged right up to them. "What are you doing here, you bastards? Look at you! Is this what you've become? This?" The doctor who had held Jenny turned around violently as he severed the life artery of this child in a fit of temper, allowing me no chance to save it. "You want it? You have it!" He picked up the child and threw its lifeless, brittle body into my chest. I moved my arms to grab it, but it was too late. It fell like a thump to the ground and bled on my feet. "You deserve this." I took the match out of my pocket. The doctor turned to stare at me. I pulled the match out. The eyes of the patients, restrained, glanced. I lit the match and threw it straight to the floor. The flames lit up the engulfing room. The doctor leaped on me, forcing me to the ground as the flames followed his trail. I kicked and punched and managed to free myself from him as he slipped on the petrol and blood like a helpless seal. I kicked him in the stomach whilst the others tried to put out the flames, but it was too late. I heard the lift explode. I heard the floor below, the windows smashing as the chemicals and explosive materials reacted to the flames, and any other chemicals about the hospital. I ran towards the flames, jumping straight through them, and fell headlong down a flight of stairs. I picked myself up at floor 6, running down the rest. I could hear the explosions going off, and charged as fast as I could. How I managed to escape, I will never know, but I did. I jumped into the bus, and Jenny and I sped off as more of the explosions went off. The building was lit up a brilliant orange. More windows of the hospital smashed, showering glass everywhere like flower petals in a strong wind, but also too the sound of screams of those who I'd chosen to die, a sound that would haunt me forever, as to my conscience. Was I right to kill them all? Could I have saved them or done something else? Were they already dead, merely I sped up their time, or saved them from the torture and painful death that those doctors had chosen for them? It was a question I would never have the answer for, but it was a pain that I would always suffer.